watching.
Subscribe.
Hey guys, it's SoCalVal for ScreenStalker, and today we're continuing our trip down memory lane with recaps of past Marvel films, all 688 of them. Okay, I'm kidding. There's actually more than that. But before we begin, press the thumbs up button, give us a subscribe, and answer our question of the day. What's the best movie in Phase 2 of the MCU, and why? Let me know in the comments. So just to recap, we've covered all of the Marvel films up until 2012, including Iron Man 1 and 2, that one Incredible Hulk movie that no one ever talks about, Thor, Captain America, and The Avengers, which brings us to 2013 and the third Iron Man film. Now at this point, Iron Man, who's kind of like a sexy tin man with a drinking problem, has solidified himself as arguably the most badass of all the Avengers. So in Iron Man 3, our expectations were super high. The tone and direction noticeably shifted in this story to everyone's delight. I think the reason critics and fans praise the Iron Man movies is because of the strong storytelling. You can have all the action scenes and explosions you want, and there are plenty of those, but without the backbone of a good story, you have nothing. Or you have a DC movie. That one stung a little bit, didn't it? Sorry, DC fans. Now, the only problem with Iron Man 3 was that they chose to let mousy, mealy-mouthed little Pepper Potts save the day. Literally, she turns into a fireball and just starts kicking random ass. It's ridiculous. Marvel, making a feminine character appear strong doesn't mean you have to set her on fire. Must we be that literal? Pepper Potts was fine as the powerful CEO in the second film, great even. So why'd you mess with that and turn her into a freaking phoenix? Ugh. Well, anyway, the film grossed over $1 billion at the box office, so some people were into it. Now we're moving on to another 2013 release from Marvel, Thor: The Dark World. Reviews generally said the film was fine. Oof. Fine? That's bad. You never want to use the F word. I found the film a bit slow-moving and a tad confusing, but it does introduce us to a very important object. No, not Thor's abs, but hey, would you look at that? It's another Infinity Stone! The Ether. See, this is where you should be paying attention. We were introduced to the Mind Stone, which resides in Loki's glowing walking stick thingy. Plus now we're very familiar with that Tesseract, that damn Tesseract. And at the end of the Avengers, we caught a brief but terrifying glimpse at Thanos. He's super important. He's kind of like the King Koopa of this whole mess, but more on him later. In 2014, we saw the much-anticipated release of the sequel to Captain America, titled Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Now, I've mentioned before, I have my very own army of Marvel marks, and amongst our group, this film is revered as one of the best Marvel films of all time. No, seriously, ask around. This is one of those movies that people actually agreed on, citing a great story, impressive CGI, and an emphasis on practical effects as the reasons why this film is so damn near flawless. We're also introduced to two new badass characters, Falcon, played by the superbly talented Anthony Mackie, and the Winter Soldier, played by the brilliant Sebastian Stan. They literally just keep adding hot dude after hot dude into the mix, and I think I speak for all female Marvel fans when I say, yes, queen! And speaking of hot ass-kicking studs, we finally arrived at one of my favorite Marvel films so far, Guardians of the Galaxy, starring the most hilarious, most likable superhero of all time, Star-Lord, aka Peter Quill, aka Chris Pratt, aka that guy from Parks and Rec that somersaulted into sexy hunk stardom faster than you can say, I am Groot. This film is so good for so many reasons. What I love most about it is that it made so many Marvel fans out of people who claim they really weren't into Marvel. For those naysayers out there, it's the film I always suggest watching so they can understand why we love Marvel movies in the first place. It's certainly the funniest and most entertaining film they've produced so far, and by grossing over $773 million at the box office, it's clearly a fan favorite. The cast is supercharged with Zoe Saldana as Gamora, Bradley Cooper as the voice of Rocket the Raccoon, Vin Diesel as Groot. Yeah, why did they use Vin Diesel again? And our main man, the animal, Dave Bautista as Drax. Quick side note, Bautista shines in this film and totally cemented his spot as a bona fide Hollywood star. Coming from the world of wrestling, this was a proud moment for our little community. He's a badass. It's a must-see film. Moving on to 2015, Marvel reassembled the Avengers for Age of Ultron. Now, first off, the film grossed over $1.4 billion at the box office. Yeah, billion, mind you. And it starred literally all of the Avengers. Thor, Iron Man, Hawkeye, Hulk, Black Widow, Paul, Sporty Spice, Ringo, Baby Spice. Everyone's in this film. Also, a few new characters hit the scene, including Mary-Kate and Ashley's sister, Elizabeth Olsen, as Scarlet Witch, and Paul Bettany as Vision. The Avengers are adding new members at such a rapid pace that if you blinked, you could miss an entire new character's debut. It's madness. But what did Marvel do? They rode that gravy train and added yet another Avenger to the mix, and his name is Ant-Man. Ant-Man was released later in 2015, starring Paul Rudd as the lead character / lead insect. Now I know what you're thinking. Paul Rudd is no superhero. I mean, at best, he's kind of the funny sidekick who says inappropriate things. But I think it's his guy next door charm that actually makes this film work. It also doesn't hurt that they added Hollywood legend Michael Douglas to the cast and introduced us to Lily Evangeline as another superhero, the Wasp. Now I can't say this film did tremendous numbers at the box office, around 519 million, but it's certainly a lot of fun to watch. Plus, you'll need to get familiar with Ant-Man to prepare yourself for yet another Avengers film that we'll discuss next week. The final phase of my Marvel film reviews will be up soon, and I hope you're ready, because there's more marvelous action to come. Click the video on the right to watch me review all of MCU's Phase 1 in just 5 minutes. Impressive. And give us a subscribe and click the bell icon to enable notifications so you never miss a future episode. For ScreenStalker, I'm SoCalVal. We're watching!